I caught my wife flirting on Tinder, so I quietly investigated, then confronted her with everything. I'm not the jealous type. I'm not even the kind of guy who snoops around or checks my partner's phone. But sometimes, life gives you a nudge. My name's Ben, 33, from Austin, Texas. My wife, Laura, is 31. We've been married for 4 years. Our marriage, up until a few months ago, was what I'd call normal. We had our fights, some over dumb stuff like laundry, others deeper, but nothing that ever made me question her loyalty. We both worked full-time jobs, me in IT consulting, her in marketing. Life was stable, or so I thought. It started with small things. Laura began taking her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom, which wasn't like her. Late-night notifications that she'd quickly swipe away. She was more distant at dinner. I chalked it up to stress. Her company was going through some restructuring, and she mentioned being on edge. Then one night, I was up late working on a client presentation. She had gone to bed early, claiming a migraine. Around 1 a.m., I walked into the bedroom to grab a USB drive from my nightstand, and there it was. Her phone buzzed. It lit up. A Tinder notification. At first, I thought maybe she was getting one of those scammy ads or someone spoofed her old account. But then another one popped up. You got a new match. And then a message. Haha, you're trouble. I like it. I stood there, staring at the screen like it had punched me. I picked up her phone. Locked. Of course. Now I know what you're thinking. I should have woken her up and confronted her. But instead, I just sat down on the edge of the bed, heart thudding like a jackhammer, trying to process it. Laura on Tinder? I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I pretended everything was normal. She kissed me on the cheek, sipped her coffee, and left for work like any other day. I sat there wondering if the last 4 years had all been fake. I wasn't proud of what I did next, but I had to know more. I installed a basic keylogger on our home laptop. We shared it for budgeting and taxes. She sometimes logged into her apps from there, especially when she was taking breaks during work-from-home days. I also set up a screen recorder, paranoid and shaky as hell the whole time. Over the next few days, I kept playing it cool. I smiled, made jokes, even brought her flowers one evening like some twisted social experiment. Meanwhile, I collected evidence like a detective in a bad crime drama. Then I saw it. She had an active Tinder account. Photos from a recent trip she took with the girls. The profile read, "Just looking for someone fun. Life's too short for dull nights." There were messages too. One with a guy named Kyle, who was clearly flirting with her. And she was flirting back. "Married?" he asked. "Complicated," she replied. That word hit me like a gut punch. I couldn't take it anymore. That evening, I confronted her. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I just asked, "Why are you on Tinder?" Her face went pale like I'd thrown ice water on her. "Wait, what?" "I saw the messages, Laura. You're flirting with guys. Saying our marriage is complicated? What the hell is going on?" She sat down slowly, hands shaking. "Ben, it's not what you think." I almost laughed. That's what they always say, right? But then she looked at me with this strange mix of guilt and fear. And what she said next wasn't anything I could have predicted. "Ben, it's not what you think." Those were her words. Classic. Predictable. Almost laughable. If I wasn't sitting there with my heart cracked open, waiting to hear something that might glue the pieces back together or shatter them completely. I stayed quiet, just looked at her. She rubbed her temples, then stared at the floor. "I wasn't planning to actually meet anyone," she said. "It was just a stupid thing I did to feel something. I know how bad it looks. But it wasn't about cheating." "So what was it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Because it sure as hell wasn't about ordering groceries." She flinched. "I don't know. I guess it started out as curiosity. Then it became an escape." An escape. She was crying now, softly. I wasn't ready to feel sympathy. Not yet. But I listened. Laura explained that over the past year, she'd been struggling with something she hadn't shared with anyone, not even me. She felt like she was disappearing into the roles life had given her. The responsible wife, the competent marketer, the person who always had it together. But under all of that, she said she felt numb. She talked about how some of her friends were getting divorced, some dating again, some living these chaotic, messy, alive lives. Meanwhile, we were stuck in the same routine. Meal prepping on Sundays, spreadsheets, Amazon packages, weekend Netflix binges. "It wasn't you," she said. "It was me not knowing who I was anymore." I wanted to roll my eyes. I wanted to shout. But part of me heard her. I knew what that fog felt like. Then she dropped something heavier. "A few months ago," she said, voice barely above a whisper, "I found out I might not be able to have kids." The room went silent. "What?" "I didn't tell you because I didn't want to make it real," she said. "My doctor said my hormone levels were off. That it would be difficult. Not impossible, but hard." I felt like I'd been hit with a second betrayal. Not just the Tinder thing, but the fact she carried something so big alone. We were supposed to carry things together. That's what marriage was. And Tinder helped with that somehow? I asked, still trying to connect the dots. She looked ashamed. It wasn't logical. It was just, I needed to feel wanted. I wanted to feel like I still mattered to someone, even if it was fake. There was a long silence between us. I stood up, paced the room. My hands were fists and my thoughts were fireworks. Part of me wanted to pack a bag and leave. Another part wanted to sit next to her and ask why she couldn't trust me with her truth. You still should have told me, I finally said. I know. I was scared you'd look at me differently. Like I was broken. I married you, Laura. Not just your ability to give me kids or play house. You think I wouldn't have stood by you through this? She looked at me like she wasn't sure. That hurt even more than the cheating. I slept on the couch that night. Not because she asked me to. Because I needed space. To think. To breathe. Was I done with her? I didn't know yet. But something told me this story wasn't over. And I wasn't the only one who had been hiding something. The couch didn't offer much sleep, but it gave me something else. Distance. I woke up early. Laura had already left for work. Or at least she said she was going in that day. A sticky note on the counter read, I understand if you need time. I'll be here when you're ready to talk again. L. I stared at the note for a while. I wasn't sure whether to crumple it or keep it. I left it there. Over the next 2 days, we barely spoke. We shared a house, but felt like strangers. She'd come in late from work. I'd pretend to be asleep. I couldn't stop thinking about everything. Her Tinder messages, the fertility issue, the lies, the confessions. But something kept eating at me. Was there more? I couldn't shake the feeling that she hadn't told me everything. That her Tinder use had another layer. So I did something desperate. I reached out to one of the guys she'd messaged, Kyle. I'd remembered his name from the messages I saw, and with a little bit of digital legwork, I found his Instagram. His account was public. Classic gym selfies, cars, typical flirty captions. I sent a message. Hey, I'm Laura's husband. I'm not looking for drama, just the truth. Did you meet her in person? He replied 2 hours later. Whoa, didn't know she was married. We only talked for like a few days. I unmatched her after she got weird. Said she didn't want to meet, just talk. Thought she was a catfish. Weird. So she wasn't trying to meet up. And Kyle wasn't the only one she messaged. There were others. I started to realize this might have all been a way for her to distract herself. A sick one, sure, but not physical cheating. That night, I finally sat down with her. She looked surprised when I asked, do you want to save this marriage? She nodded. More than anything. Then I need everything. No more secrets. She took a breath. There is one more thing. My stomach dropped. My boss, Ron, she began. We got close. He didn't do anything inappropriate. But I liked the attention. He knew something was off with me and kept checking in. I never crossed any lines, but I flirted back sometimes. Just enough to feel something. I felt anger, but it was quieter now. Numb. I swear nothing happened. He doesn't even know about the Tinder thing. But I had to tell you. I stared at her for a long time. We need therapy, I said. She blinked. You'd be willing to do that? I don't know if this ends in divorce or not. But I do know we can't fix this alone. And if you're serious about rebuilding trust, we go to therapy, together. That week, we started couples counseling. We dug through years of buried feelings. I admitted I'd checked out emotionally months before all this. That I'd become more of a roommate than a husband. That I had avoided talking about kids because I was scared of being a bad father. We both had been hiding behind silence. It wasn't easy. We cried. We yelled. We almost quit. But weeks turned into months. Laura deleted Tinder, blocked her old matches, and showed me. We both committed to rebuilding what we lost. Not perfectly, but honestly this time. We're still together today. And while I'll never forget how it felt to see my wife's Tinder profile for the first time, I've also learned that sometimes people don't cheat on you. They cheat themselves, out of connection, out of honesty, out of peace. But that doesn't mean the story has to end in flames. Sometimes, it just needs a reckoning before it can begin again. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.